Hello everyone. We are going to fill out this worksheet. If you've been in class with me while I've been giving this demonstration, my computer desktop has not been working, so I've been doing it on the board. But now I'm going to do this demo on the actual project worksheet itself. And then we're going to go from there. So I'm going to make individual videos for each one. I'll do this scale with you guys. This one you can pick up on your own because it'll be the same thing as here. You just use a different pencil. And then I'll make a video for this one, and then I'll make a video for this one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start here. On the worksheet, it says, using your soft pencil, fill in the values 0 to 10, 0 with the lightest and 10 the darkest. So the pencil that you're looking for in your supply pack, you should have one that is a B pencil, and it's kind of hard in focusing. Let me see if I can get it focused right there. Nope. There we go. A B pencil, yours might be 2B, doesn't really matter. And then you should have an H pencil in there. That one's your hard pencil. So we're gonna start with the B pencil. Again, yours could be 2B. And what I like to do is I like to start with my darkest first, and then I come back over here and work my way. So 10, excuse me, if we're talking about our darkest value, that is where we're using the most pressure. So we're going to use this B pencil, and we're going to color in that 10 box with this pencil with as much pressure as you can possibly exert. So I'm going to go ahead and start that. So use as much pressure as you possibly can without breaking the pencil lead or tearing through your worksheet. Okay, so you're using as much pressure as you possibly can. Okay, so in a value scale, when we look at the values 1 through 4, these are our light values. Okay, then when we look at the values 6 through 10, these are our dark values. And then when we look at 5, that is our neutral. Okay, so here's the deal. If you don't get your lights light enough, it's going to make it very hard to have a distinction between all of your darks. So our ultimate goal in a value scale is we are assigning different values to each of these colors, and to each of these numbers, excuse me, and they all need to look different from each other. Okay, so let's come over here, and if 10 was our darkest, and then we come over, 0 is our lightest, so 10 being black, 0 means nothing there. So we're gonna leave that one blank, and we're gonna start number 1. So normally when we draw or we add shading or anything like that, we hold our pencil like this, where our fingers are really, really close to the end, and then we can put a lot of pressure down onto that pencil. Well, when you're wanting to do soft or light values, here's a strategy you can use. So you can actually move your fingers towards the back of your pencil, and then that will actually allow you to add value in really, really, really lightly. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. So for number 1, you are barely putting anything on the paper. So it may be even difficult to see in the video, but it's just, there's barely anything there. I mean, you can tell the difference between 0 and 1. So then I'm gonna move on to number 2, and I'm still coloring really lightly, or I'm filling in that value really lightly, but I want it just a little bit darker than 1. So just by a little bit, okay? Now we're gonna move on to 3, and I'm gonna start kind of exerting just a little bit more pressure there. Notice that I still have my fingers towards the back of my pencil. Okay, and I just want it a little bit darker than 2. And then I'm going to go with 4. I'm going to make that. So now I'm starting to use just a bit more pressure. Okay, so when you are getting these together, the way that this works, like let's look at 2. So in the value scale, as we move along, 2 should be darker than 1, but lighter than 3. And then same thing, 3 should be darker than 2, but lighter than 4. And that's how we kind of go through on a value scale. That's how those values have those relationships. 5 is kind of like right in the middle. It's not too dark, not too light. It's kind of our like stereotypical gray that we would think of. Excuse me. Okay, so we're just gonna keep moving right along. 6 is gonna be, I'm gonna bring my fingers up on my pencil just a little bit so I can exert just a little bit more pressure. So notice that I'm also trying to fill these in nice and neat. So 6 needs to be just a little bit darker than 5. Now for 7, I'm gonna bring my fingers up on my pencil a little bit more so I can exert a little bit more pressure and control. Okay, so here at this stage, 6 and 7 look really, really, really similar. So if you have 2 of them that are really, really close together, you need to figure out which one you have to fix. So for example, it's easier for me to make 7 darker rather than going in with an eraser and making 6 lighter. So I'm gonna go in with another layer over 7 and just make it just a bit darker. Okay, now I'm gonna go to 8 and exerting more pressure. So again, pretty similar to number 7, so that means I need to make 8 quite a bit darker. So I'm gonna move my fingers up my pencil a little bit, and I'm gonna use a bit more pressure. So you guys should be able to see that difference there. Okay, just like that. And the 9 needs to be right in between. I'm going to kind of change how I'm coloring also. It's a little easier to change direction. So I'm going to start off a little lighter, actually quite a bit lighter than what I need. So here's kind of an example to see quote unquote a mess up. So if you see number 9 here, yeah, it's lighter than 10, but it's also lighter than 8. So that doesn't work. So I need to make sure that I make this darker than 8, but it's got to stay lighter than 10. So I'm going to go back over it. Okay, now it's kind of on the same playing field as 8, so I need to go over it again. And this time I can kind of color in a diagonal. Okay, so something like that. It's darker than 8, but it's not near as dark as 10. And 10 I can even come back in and add in another really hard pressure layer on there so you can see the difference. Okay, and that's it, guys. So, excuse me, you're gonna do the same exact thing that you just did down here, but instead you're gonna switch your pencil over to your H. So I'll have this completed and then I'll pick up on this one to show you what you guys need to do. But this one needs to be the same thing as here. You're just using your 2H pencil and it's a harder graphite. So in all, your values are gonna be a lot lighter down here than this one, all right? So I'll catch up with you here in a minute.